Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Michael David, for those of you who don't know me, and today I'm going to do a video that's a little bit more personal, talking about my life, and more specifically my life being a member of the LGBT community. So, growing up, I was actually very lucky. I always knew that, I was myself. I never really felt different like many people say. They're always like, oh my god, I knew I was different from when I was a little boy. I never felt different. I felt like myself. It's kind of weird to describe because, I just always, thought that I, was attracted to men, thought, oh, this is just normal, right? Because, I was a little kid. I didn't know that, what was supposed to be or what was natural or any of that crap that you'd hear growing up. And we're really lucky because today in 2018, it's so accepted and it's like almost very like, not trendy, but just gay culture and just pop culture and androgyny all over is so popular now. And I think that's just so great because now we're all just open. 2018, I think, definitely is the year of being inclusive, even though a lot of people would probably disagree, knowing the political nature. The thing for me is I never considered, LGBT or, being gay or classifying yourself should ever be political. I think when your rights, come into play and you have to actually talk to somebody like, oh, okay, this is wrong. So this video is going to be a little bit different than my other ones so far. I haven't uploaded too much, and that's just because I upload, when I have time, basically. So, I decided to upload this video talking about my experience being a member of the LGBT community. And basically, just some things, maybe some advice that I would like to share with people who are trying to find their way and trying to really develop who they are as a person, because that's something that we always are doing, basically from the day of birth to, the day of death, I think. I definitely never realized that, I was, quote, gay or any of these different things, maybe until I was like 8 or 9, when I started hearing people in school using the word for the first time, because, everybody, once they hear a word when they're growing up, they're like, oh, okay, now I have to use it in every sentence. So I would hear people being like, oh, well, that's gay, or this is gay, and I'm just saying to myself, I was like, what does that mean? So then, of course, I asked somebody, what are you going to tell a little kid, right? So they were like, oh, it means when you're really happy. And I'm saying to myself, I was like, oh, well, that's weird. So then eventually, time, went by and I learned what it meant. And then I realized, I was like, oh, that kind of sounds like me. I would say, myself as a young kid was just very confident, never really thought about what anybody had to say. But, in that I had a lot of energy, I was very loud, I was very happy to say what I thought, and I still am. I think that's something that, is probably one of my best features. So eventually, once I started realizing what, being gay was, I never told anybody, obviously, because I didn't want to be looked at as somebody who would be different. I just always felt like myself. So I didn't really want people to have to think about that once they, tried talking to me, and it never really crossed my mind, really, until like middle school. So when I was in middle school, I had realized basically, okay, I'm gay, I'm, just, this is how I am, this is what life is. I knew that obviously there were other gay people in the world, so I never felt weird. I just didn't really think that that was anybody's business, and, I wasn't ready to, be in a relationship or, like, do anything crazy like that. So I just figured, okay, I'll just keep this to myself. I don't really want to date anyway right now, and then I basically just kept it to myself. And, a lot of people I know just knew, but they didn't really, heart me on trying to get me to tell them, which I appreciate. Others probably, I can definitely say that some people were very accepting and wanting to hear my actual truth, I'll say. But, to me, it's kind of just annoying. You definitely can't peer pressure anybody into coming out, and I've definitely learned that through people that I've met who actually aren't in the closet. Not everybody's ready. It's so funny because my best friend actually, she's gorgeous, and it's so sad because she was head over heels in love with me. Actually, another one of my best friends too. A lot of gay people actually go through this where they have their girl best friends, fall in love with them just because we're so understanding. We want to hear everything from them. We support them, and who wouldn't want to fall in love with us, right? So 2 of my best friends, one more so, a lot more so. She actually wrote a poem about me because she, was so in love with me, and I couldn't tell her, and I felt so bad. But not everybody's ready at certain times. So later on, once I was in high school, I actually got to tell her, oh, I'm gay. So, and she was like, oh, wow, okay. And then, I think it started to make a little bit more sense to her. But she was so heartbroken, I felt bad. But she's gonna be my surrogate one day, so we got it all set up. I was very lucky, and throughout my time growing up, I didn't have too many people, harassing me or bullying me. I definitely had, what everybody has, which is, some assholes in, the grade who probably would just be like, oh, I can't even say it because I just can't remember. I'm so out of that time in my life. But I was very lucky compared to some, and I would never say that I went through a hard time. In elementary school, I definitely struggled to find my way, just finding friends, but I never considered, being gay or, anything like that, it's the same thing. I just kind of thought, oh, well, I have my own issues, but that's not the reason why I'm having trouble with friends. I think some people in my elementary school, all of which I'm on great terms with now, so I'm very happy about that, but I think growing up, it was just a little bit hard to accept my kind of energy, I'll say. So maybe some people, it was a little bit harder for them to, be friends with me. So I think that would be my struggle growing up. I don't think that it was directly related to being gay or anything like that. But, there's so many people who have those kinds of issues. So my advice for those kinds of people is tell your parents. One, you always have to tell your parents. Tell your family, anybody. It doesn't have to be a parent. If there's somebody in your immediate family that you can go to that will listen and trust you, you definitely have to tell them all of your feelings, especially at a young age. And, I think that now we're actually starting to do a really good job of telling our youth, be honest, speak up, and, say what you feel. And it's definitely becoming more of a trend, I think, which is great. And, as, the LGBT culture is being accepted, more and more each year, I think that kids, now they're actually starting to come out a lot younger. I didn't come out until I was 15, but that is considered very young. If a lot of people looking at that would be like, wow, how did you do that? And, the truth is, I knew, okay, well, everybody expects me to be gay anyway. They talk about it. They know myself as a person. They're not going to judge me. They're probably, if anything, they would just be annoyed at something that I would do rather than, just who I am. So I was very lucky in the community that I lived in because I felt I could actually do it, and the way I did it was on a public forum. I literally tweeted a picture of the Interested in Men, logo from Facebook, where you get to say who you, are interested in if anybody wants to date, and that was a big deal. I was very nervous, and I think that anybody is nervous when they're about to come out, even if it's just to their mom or their best friend. But, for me, I came out to the world, basically, my world. I don't know how many people that technically was. So since I did it on such a public forum, I was very nervous, because if you're going to come out to anybody, whether it's your best friend, your mom, or, your family even, that same day I came out to my dad and my sister. My mom actually knew a lot, a very long time before. And once that split second came where I told my family, nothing changed at all. And I was very blessed. I know not everybody in the world actually is that lucky. I decided to, just be honest. And since I was able to come out at such a young age, I don't really remember what my life was like before that. And I think that that's kind of a place where everybody in the world should be. Especially even if you're not gay, if you're just straight, being happy just talking about your life and being able to accept who you are, that's what we all should want in this world. Not if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're trans, or you're bi, any of this. It doesn't matter. That is the whole thing. I never cared about, me being gay because I never thought that was a big deal. I thought that I was just a person, right? We're all in this life to find the same things. We all want love. We all want happiness, and we all want humanity. That's really all that I look at. I don't look at somebody and say, oh, they're gay. I don't look at somebody and be like, oh, they're straight. I just look at somebody and that's a human. We're all humans here, and I think that once the world, and we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Progress is progress. And, especially, I'm lucky I live in New York, so, my home state and, California and all these different great places around the country are so accepting these days. And, we have laws, we have all these things that show protection and especially show acknowledgement towards a whole community of people. I really always wish that we didn't have to put those kinds of laws into place, but unfortunately in today's world where sometimes people can be divided, you have to do that to protect everybody. I, as a person, definitely recommend to anybody who is going through these kinds of struggles, if you're trying to find yourself, like I said, speak to somebody. Talk to your parents. It's always good, whether you're gay or not, just to be on the same page with your parents. I am so blessed because I feel like there hasn't been a time where I haven't been on the same page. And, for a long time, my family didn't know that I was gay, but like I said, that doesn't always matter. And the best thing to do in life is be on the same page with your family and your friends. So once you're able to do that, your whole life can officially start because you're not worrying about holding something in. It's a little similar to lying, although it's definitely not the same thing, but once you have to hold something in or hold a truth in, you have to develop something to follow it and follow it and follow it, just like a lie that keeps going and going and going. So instead of lying to yourself and lying to the people that you're around, be open and upfront. If those people don't accept you, those people should not be in your life at all. And you'll learn that, and if anybody is watching this that genuinely is in the closet, you haven't spoken to anybody, you don't know what to do, the first person that you have to worry about is yourself. Don't think about what anybody has to say, because there's millions and millions and millions and millions of people that are just like you. We're all the same, we're all people, we're all humans. And you'll find that person, whether they're not in your family, whether they are in your family, whether they're your friends or they're people that you never even met. You will find somebody who accepts you, loves you, and acknowledges you. That is the most important thing. If you can acknowledge a community of people, like if we all can stand together and say that we are all people rather than these little subgroups, that's when world peace will happen. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen for a very, 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 very long time, but progress is progress. So again, I only give advice, to people who are really struggling because I never really had to go through that. So in my stance, I cannot be happy in my life knowing that I had a better time than some people in this country do, and especially in this world. So my purpose, I feel, I have to at least help out. I have to tell people, go to therapy. Therapy is so good. I think that everybody at some point in their life should try therapy. Just to know, there's somebody who is agreeing with you, seeing your point of view, and they're not involved. So if you have a person who's an outside force who has no idea what's going on in your life, their only choice is to be honest. I've been so many therapists to so many of my friends, but it's not the same thing. You want to go to somebody who's actually going to be totally not related and somebody who can actually come at you from a different perspective. And that's the best thing about therapy. So if you ever feel like you're not able to talk about who you are or talk about the things that you love, just try to take the steps to make yourself feel accepted. And if that's not with your family, try to go out and do whatever you can to get therapy, group counseling. There's so many different places now, and especially, in today's culture, we have so many shelters, so many places that accept you. If your family doesn't accept you, there's going to be a shelter that has a home and food for you. So I really just want to let everybody know that we're all humans. I was approached and, somebody wanted to actually hear my story. The thing is, I'm lucky enough to not have a story. And I think that once we get to a place in this world where we don't have a story growing up, right? Where we have a normal life, where we don't have to, single out people for their color of their skin, for, who they, choose to love. I don't think that those things matter. I look at somebody for who they are. So if you're going to be really nice to me, I will totally bring you into my life. If you're, there's plenty of mean gay people. There's plenty of mean straight people. It's not all about the labels. It's about the person behind the label. And once we get to a place where we can steer away from these labels, that is when we can coexist the correct way. So, although I don't have such a personal story, I have something that I'm very blessed for. I have a family that accepted me right off the bat, no problem. No problem at all. And I think that, obviously so many more families are becoming more accepting these days, but we're not completely there yet. And once we get to that point, I think that, everybody can be a lot happier in life. And, the thing for me that kind of just gets me is I understand, having personal feelings against somebody. I do. There's so many people that I hate. So many people. But the reasons that I hate them are more reasons, that have affected me. If there's somebody on the street that you happen to look twice at, in a good way or a bad way. Unless they had something, specific that they did to you, it is not your place to judge, think about, or even look at them. We're all in this life for our own reasons. I go to school in New York City, and I'm so blessed to go to school in New York because it's such an accepting part of the world. And, my purpose, I feel, in my life, I see different people all over. And like I said, you might look twice, but you are not at any place to judge or say anything about them. Unless, if they had something to do with you, if they called you out for something on the street and they were rude to you, then you have a right to be mad at them. You have a right to say whatever you want to say. You should definitely not go out to make issues happen that didn't exist. That's all I have to say. So, for people to hate a group of people just for their own religious beliefs, you have your rights. Everybody has a right to, believe whatever they want. I'm religious in my own way. Maybe not like everybody else, but I still have faith. So, if anybody, has some kind of opinion, based on their religion about, a group of people, you're able to have that opinion. We want you to have that opinion. Do not disrespect anybody. If you don't want to be disrespected, I think that that's an easy respect. You don't want to have to make issues where there are none. So I would just say to anybody who maybe, can't understand, the LGBT community, we understand that, sometimes it's a lot to take in. And, in my standpoint, other people are a lot to take in, not just gay people. So once we can get to a point where we stop harping about these issues about somebody and stop rooting it back to a label, because that's all they are, they're all labels, then we will be able to live a life that we all want to live. So to anybody, if you're trying to find yourself, if you're gay or not, if you're trans or not, if you're bi or not, if you're non-binary, or if you're gender fluid, or if you're anything, there's so many different, labels, right? We're all human. I'm a human. My advice to all of you, get somebody that you love, whether it's somebody, family, friends, a therapist, anything. Have them know who you are. And once you're good with who you are, that's all you need in life. Acknowledging yourself is the way to happiness. There's so many people in life that keep these feelings in their, whole entire time while they're living. You don't want to do that. I was really lucky to be able to actually feel comfortable coming out at 15 years old and, saying that now, 5 years later, it's like, wow, what was life before, right? I just want you to know you can be yourself no matter what. No matter what. And I'm very blessed where I am today, and especially to all my friends in the LGBT community. You all have inspired me to be happy with who I am, and I don't think that I would be here talking about this so openly if it wasn't for the beautiful, kind, and surreal people that I've met. I want to say thank you to all my family and friends who have always stuck by me and who always stick by me. I will always support you as well. There's nothing in this world that can heal except love. So I think that, once we all can love each other, we'll just be so much happier in life. Overall, I wanted to do this video just to kind of, give some backstory about me. And, obviously so many people probably wonder, oh, he does makeup, he does this, he does that. Obviously there's a story behind it. And, I'm just a guy, a normal person, just living my life, trying to be happy and, trying to have fun. My whole thing is living life to the fullest. And I think that, it's 2018, people. So to anybody who's actually watching this video, I just want to send my love to you. And I hope that, you take something away from this, just to realize, these issues, they are issues. But at the end of the day, when we realize that we're all just humans and we shouldn't harp on these kinds of things, that's when we're going to have a good life. And that's when, countries are going to be equal, right? When we don't worry about labeling issues, that's all we need. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who is watching right now. As always, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you have anything, thoughts, comments, or a story maybe that you want to share, I don't know if you want to share it on a public platform, but feel free to comment it down below. I'd be happy to look at it. I just want to see, different feedback because I love meeting different people all around the world. So thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.